After we've been through step 1 of defining a problem, we're now ready to move on to step 2, which is generating concepts. Step 2 is where you start trying to come up with ideas on how to solve the problem. First of all, you want to research the problem. You want to research to see if there's things that have already exist to solve the solution. You want to research things that maybe you don't understand about the problem. Anything that needs to be researched, this is the time to do it. After your research, you then start brainstorming ideas. Brainstorming is a time where you come up with lots of ideas quickly. They can be very far-fetched. They can be realistic. It's just a way to throw out a lot of different ideas quick. Sometimes you will sketch your brainstorming ideas, where you draw them on paper just to give yourself an idea of what they look like. After brainstorming, you then consider anything else that you need to have within your project. You want to make sure that everything's being met within when you try to define the problem, and then we start trying to decide our final decision by using what's called a decision matrix. In a decision matrix, it is a tool that you can use to help pick your ideas. So on the left column over here, you have your ideas, and they're numbering them 1 through 5, 1 through 6. I'm going to have you guys have at least 3 different ideas to be able to solve this problem in our current project. Then across the top in blue, these are your requirements or your constraints. These are the things that you have to have in your project. Okay, so on our next slide, we're going to go ahead and fill out the decision matrix for our current project. So as we look at our decision matrix for our current wire-guided vehicle, I'm coming up with 6 different ideas that we're going to look at. Then I look at the criteria that we got to have. 1, am I using all the materials that I got to have in my project? This is a simple yes or no type question. So as I look at the materials, I'm just going to randomly come up with things and say, in group number 1, I am using all the materials. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 1 on that one. However, in 2, I'm not using the appropriate materials. I have to use something else, so I'll give that a 0. And then I keep going for the other ideas. Let's say 3 has all the materials, 4 does too. Oops, that's the wrong number. 4 has all the materials, so does 5, but 6 does not. So really right there, that tells me that my idea number 2 and 6 are ones that I can't use because it is a requirement that I have all of my materials. Now I'm going to look at the distance that I think it's going to travel. I don't know for sure, but it's based on my guess. So as I'm looking at it, I'm saying the size of like a fan would maybe affect how far it's going to travel, how much like a sail would work. So number 1 has a big sail in it, so I'm going to give it a 5 because I'm going to rate these out of 1 to 5. Number 2 had that also, but since it didn't have the materials, I really can't use it anymore. Number 3 had a real small area, so I'm not sure it's going to travel very far. 4 it has even a less area, so I don't think it will work either. 5 is a pretty good one, but maybe not quite as good as number 1, and 6 is horrible. Now I'm going to look at how easy it is to build. And again, on a scale of 1 to 5, I'm going to see which one is easiest. So the easiest thing I think is going to be to build, I'm going to give it a 5. And then the other ones I'm going to give a 1 if it's really hard. So the first one is really, really hard to build. The second one is pretty easy. The third one is pretty easy. The fourth one is pretty difficult. The fifth one's really easy, so I'm going to give it a 5. And then on the sixth one, it was really hard or kind of in the middle, so I'll give it a 3. And then I had to develop some way that it's going to hook to the wire. This is something I thought was an important requirement. So how it hooks to the wire. It hooks to the wire. It can be how easy it hooks, how stable it's going to hook. It's up to you. You get to decide how you want it to hook. And how you want to give the best number. So let's say my 5th idea is a 5. I'm going to give this one a 2. I'm going to give this one a 1. I'm going to give this one a 3. I'm going to give this one a 5 also, and I'll give this one a 2. Now, how durable is it going to be? This device is going to have to go up and down the wire several times. So I need to make sure that it's going to last. So I don't want something that's real flimsy. So this one's going to be not very durable at all. This one's going to be pretty durable. This one's going to be not too bad. This one's even worse. This one's pretty good. And this one is not very good at all either. So it's okay that your numbers repeat in these categories. Now weight. You got to decide, is weight good or weight bad? So if it's heavy, is that going to make it fly better or sail farther? If it's lighter, is it going to make it go that? So based on your judgment, again, we'll give this one maybe a 4. We'll go a 5 here. I'm going to go 3. And again, I'm just kind of basing these off of what I think is best How weight will affect each design. If it's the better it is, the higher number I give. The lower it is, the lower number it is. Now, once I have all the criteria in here, I've rated with all my ideas, I'm going to add up all these numbers. So as I add up across this one's going to be 14. Add this one up, that one's going to be, let's see, 15, 20. Now I add the next one up. So we have 8, 9, 11, 17. I add across I add up number 4. So that is 15. I add this one up. That's 24. And then the last one is going to be 5, 9. So obviously, based on my decision matrix, my worst idea is idea number 6. Even though my second best idea is item number 2, that's one I probably couldn't use because it didn't meet all the materials. So really the one that I'm going to pick is my 5th idea. So that would be the one that I'm going to decide that I'm going to try to make it with it. And that's the design that I'll pick for my next step. So once you have your idea with your decision matrix, it's now time to check and make sure that it did truly solve the problem that you're intending to. Because you want to make sure that if it doesn't, that you can go back and start over with problem step number 1, look at the problem, and then come back and generate ideas again. If it did meet everything that you needed to, then you're allowed to go down to step 3, which we'll talk about at another date. If there's something that you need to change, now is the time to do it. So this is a process that can repeat over and over again if needed. Define what you're trying to solve, come up with some ideas. If it meets what you're trying to solve, you can move on. If it doesn't, you need to go back, look at the problem again, and come up with some more ideas, and keep repeating that process until you come up with a solution that you think will solve the problem.